Hello and welcome to this week's weekly video featuring yours truly and Tom's Tools. The disclaimer is stock and options trading has large potential rewards but also large potential risks. You must be aware of these risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the stock and options market. You can actually lose money, and you know that. You also know that I'm not an investment advisor, and you should not construe anything I'm about to share with you as investment advice. And all prices are in US dollars unless noted otherwise. Feel free to read the balance of the disclaimer at your leisure. All right, so today we're going to talk about the RSI Rancor. The markets have been in a really volatile posture recently, and there's a lot of overzealousness in the market, and we're going to talk about that and how that can bring us opportunities, particularly in the area of stocks or even the market itself being overbought and or oversold. We're going to scan for those overbought and oversold conditions, and then I'm going to talk to you about how to confirm the RSI indicator with other technicals and give you some ideas there at the very end of the recording. RSI was developed by Welles Wilder and is a measure of overbought and oversold. So let's talk a little bit about the forces in the market. There's really two main forces in the market. We call one the bear, which is selling pressure, and then the other, of course, is bull, which is buying pressure. And the markets are really about a battle between bearishness and bullishness. As you can see here, a bear and a bull are fighting. All right, so at some point, if the bears are more enthusiastic than the bulls, what that will do is drive the prices down and vice versa. When the bulls are more enthusiastic, then what happens is that they overwhelm the bears and the prices rise. So those are the dynamics in the market. And the good news is that typically these periods of bullishness or bearishness are oftentimes overdone. So if you look at human psychology of fear and greed, both of those when they're at their peak are oftentimes overdone, and that's what produces the opportunity to go the other way. So that's what the RSI Rancor does. And here's an example. This is an RSI chart on a stock, and really there's three main portions to the indicator. There's the upper line, which is typically set at 70, the lower line, which is typically set at 30, and then you have this line called the RSI line. So Welles Wilder's formula will detect when the buying pressure has been overdone. So anything above this 70 line, when the line extends above 70, then we're now in overbought territory, and vice versa. When the line extends beneath the lower line at 30, then we're in oversold territory. So the opportunity is sort of like a whipsaw. When these lines drop below the oversold condition here, for example, and cross back above it, as indicated here, that is your buy signal. And when the line crosses beneath the 70 line, the line in the sand, if you will, then that signifies a bearish opportunity. Overbought, 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 intermixed with oversold. All right, so that's how the indicator works. It's really simple. It's quite reliable as well. Here's a chart on Shopify, a recent chart as of the time of this recording. And what I've done is I've marked the bearish signals as well as the only one bullish signal on this chart, and you can see how well it performs, at least on this stock. And here, for example, had you gone bearish, you would have had a nice little bearish pop. Here, had you gone bearish, you would have gotten a false signal. Here, false signal. Here, very, very nice bearish drop. Here, false signal. Here, very nice drop. Here, good signal and a very nice drop intermixed with a bullish rise. Had we gotten in here, we could have gotten out there at a nice profit as well. So the point is that sometimes this indicator gives us false signals. So really what I want to point out is that it's important for you to confirm with other technical indicators like MACD, stochastics, volume, support, resistance, trend lines, moving averages. I'll give you a summary of those in the last slide. All right, so let me show you how to use the tool. It's very simple. So to access the RSI Rancor, go to Stocks, Stock Rankers, and you'll notice it's the first one in the list, RSI. Let's click RSI. And then we pop into this very simple wizard. When you look at it from this view, you can see that we have the stock list. Let's go ahead and select the S&P 500. Those are the biggest 500 institutionally sponsored stocks. And then I want to click least days inside the RSI range. So the RSI range is 30 to 70. So if I have least days inside RSI range, what that means is that the stock has most recently crossed either from above 70 or from below 30 into the range. And those are going to give me the signals to go long or short. You can also click most days inside the RSI range, and what that will do is give you stocks that are not overbought or oversold and might be going sideways. But for us, what we want to do is least days inside the RSI range. I also want to go ahead into show you the wizard criteria because I want to modify these. And this is what you want to do. You want to make sure you're searching over the last 60 days. That's a month, 2 months, excuse me. We want to go the upper range at 70. And remember that 70 line I told you about, the lower range at 30. And then we can save these settings into a wizard. We can call it RSI 3070 Rancor. And then we can click save, and then if I come back and I want to use this again, I can use these defaults. So that's a way to save the settings, but make sure that you have 70 for upper RSI range and 30 for lower. And then once you've done that, then click the search button, and that'll go off and do the searching. And remember, we're going to be looking for the stocks who have been inside the 30 to 70 range the least number of days. The scanner comes back and sorts by the fewest number of days, and obviously 1 is the lowest number inside the RSI range. And you can see that all of these here on the top of the list, IBM in this case, when I ran this scanner, is now at 31, so it just crossed above. All of these, if I'm looking down this list, you can see they're all pretty close to 30. So all of these have just crossed above, indicating an oversold condition and a potential bullish move. If I click the chart button here, on IBM, for example, we can go right into charts and we can see the RSI and see exactly what it looks like, and also the chart for IBM. So let's pull up this chart here and see what we get. And you can see here that IBM, along with the market during the time of this recording, had tanked and has popped back up. And let's take a look at the RSI, and you can see that just today, during this taping, you can see that the RSI just crossed above, and that signals a potential bullish move in IBM. Maybe it's time for a bounce back. All right, so that's a real simple tool. I wanted to show it to you. Feel free to play around with it, back test it, of course. Let's go ahead and do a quick summary. So again, what you want to do when you're using the RSI Rancor is click least days inside the RSI range. Make sure that you use the upper range at 70 and the lower range at 30. You might also want to make the days to search at 60. That's 2 months, and of course the S&P 500. And just to confirm these RSI signals, you may choose to overlap and incorporate one or more, or even all of these MACD, stochastics, support resistance, breaks of support resistance on volume. You can look at moving averages and trend lines, and bounces and breaks above those lines. It's pretty much all the same stuff, but consider using confirmations just to avoid any false signals from the RSI. It is a great indicator. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for being with me this week, and I'll see you all next week.